Hello everyone, it's Workplace and Apprenticeship Math 30, Chapter 7, Cosine Law question. How you guys doing? So this question here I'll go over, and this has to do with directions and a map and stuff like that. So as you see here, we have north facing up, and always on a map, north faces up, generally. And so this is the question. It says this: a boater sends an SOS call, that is, an emergency help call, indicating that he is stranded on a point of land. Gord receives the call and determines that the boat is 3.2 kilometers away. Now, the first problem here is we've got an error, I think, in the question here. So if you run into this, and if this is your only issue with this question, then there you go, problem solved. But we got 4.2 in the diagram and 3.2 in the question. So here's Gord, here's the boater. Okay, so that's got to be changed first. Away from him at a direction of 42 degrees south of west. Now here in the diagram, here is west over here, right? And this is south down here. So 42 degrees south of west goes down from west towards the south, right? Which means that inside this circle, this angle is not 42, is it? So we got to do 90 minus 42. And what's that? 48. So this one is 48 degrees, okay? That's another tricky part there. Maybe you used 42 in this question, I'm not sure. Meg is at a station 5.8 kilometers south of Gord. So here's Meg down here, okay, south of Gord. All right, so this is what we've got here so far. We've got the 4.2 Gord to the boat, and the boat probably sent this flare out here. You see on the left side, a flare gun kit, shoot it up in the air, like in the movies, right? It's like a firework almost, but it's like this red flare that, tells people, hey, there's emergency out in the water or somewhere. So question A says, how far is Meg from the stranded boater? How far is Meg from the stranded boater? So we're looking for this side right here. Okay. So we've got this figured out. We've got an angle. We've got two sides. So that means we have side, angle, side. That is a cosine law question, especially when we want to know this opposite side of the given angle. All right, no problem. So I'm gonna make this, let's see, I'm gonna make this little m for Meg's distance from the boat, okay? So the cosine law, we start off with m squared, okay? And then the opposite angle there is 48, so way over here, and I'm gonna run out of room a little bit here, so let me just move down here, I don't wanna, okay, so, and then way over here, oopsie, wow, I'm making a royal mess of all this, okay. Don't wanna do that either. Okay, man, technology, I love it. Okay, so way over here, right, is cos of 48. That makes sense? Okay, so m, and then the opposite side of the whole equation, cos 48. Now what happens in between? Well, that's easy. 4.2 squared plus 5.8 squared minus 2 times those numbers, 4.2 times 5.8. So not squared, but all this is multiplied together. So really, we can just evaluate this side, right? So m squared equals, you figure out what 4.2 squared is. So you get your calculator out. You don't have to know that, just in your mind there, of course. Okay, so we'll clear that. And we'll go 4.2 squared plus 5.8 squared. Okay, I'm just going to do that little part first. So 51.28, 1.28. Okay, I'm just going to write that down. Then I'm going to evaluate this part here. Just going to separate it just a little bit so I don't put too many keystrokes in there and make too many mistakes, just split it up a little bit. So I'm going to go 2 times 4.2 times 5.8 times cos of 48. And for me, I have to check to make sure I'm in degrees here. I think radians is not going to work. So your calculator should be in degrees. The default for this one is radians. Just don't ask. I have to change it every time I fire it up. So let's see. 32.6. Hopefully that should be, all right, 32.6. Okay. So now what is, where am I at? What is 51.28 minus 32.6? So 51.28 minus, and I'll just use the answer function here instead of retyping that 32 number out. And I get 18.68 or so. Okay. 18.68. I'm not done yet. That's not the answer because I've got this squared here. Remember? You got to deal with that squared. You got to get m all by itself. So the last thing we'll do there is take the square root of that number and square root of the answer, 4.32 or 4.3. So m should be about 4.3. Okay, so here's the solution manual for 5A. You see this over here? 4.3 is your answer for 5A. So we got the 48 angle. That's great. We used our cosine law. They used a G instead of an M there. And then, of course, cos 48 on the other side. Square the other two sides, so and so. So both 4.3. Okay, there's 5A. Boom. Let's take a look at 5B here real quick while we're here. And where am I going to go? Oh, yeah, this is one. So how far is Meg from the stranded boater? I guess you want to be careful to, Meg is 4.3. What's the units? Kilometers, okay, from the stranded boater. So there you go. Make sure you have your units there. Now it says, in what degree west of north would Meg have to travel to get to the stranded boater? So west of north. Oh, so you're in our diagram, we see we have another little question mark here for this angle, and that's the angle we're looking for, okay? Now this diagram is a bit of a mess here now, so it's maybe a little tough to see, but I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna rewrite that triangle. Hang on. All right, so here's the triangle, and if you notice here now, remember between the cosine law and the sine law is a little bit easier to work with, right? It's just a simple proportion, right? A ratio equals another ratio. If you can do that, that's what you want. And what are you looking for? Well, you're looking for an angle and its opposite side. You're looking for that combination. If you have that combination and really just one other thing, you can start using the sine law, okay? And of course, we want to find m, and so I'm going to let that equal, this ratio here, right? So how does that play out again? Well, I want to solve for m, so let's put the sine of the angles stuff on top. Remember, you could put the sine of angles on the bottom and the sides on top. It doesn't matter, right? We did that, looked at that in the last lesson. But I'm going to do sine of 48 here, degrees, divided by the opposite side. Okay, so that ratio has to equal, in every triangle, the ratio of the sine of another angle, any other angle, and in this case we're going to do m, divided by the length of its opposite side. That's the sine law, right there, using those two pairs. And so now, this is great. I'm looking at this and I say, okay, that's just a number, that's a number, that's just a number, and I can solve for my one unknown thing in this equation, no problem. Cross multiply, divide. So let's put that 4.2 up there. So I'm going to have 4.2 times sine 48 degrees over 4.3 equals sine of m. All right. One step at a time. Okay, so I would suggest maybe you can do this on your calculator first. You don't have to. You can do the last step all at once, but I'm going to show you the way I would do it. Again, just so you make fewer mistakes, okay? Do that. I'd even do that top, let it equal, divided by the bottom, let it equal. So now this whole side here equals 0.72586, right? 72586 or so. Now, the last sine, m, the last step is to do, if you remember, to solve for an angle there, you got to do the second function sine, or sine to the -1 of both sides, because that gets rid of the sine part of this term. All right, and then you're left with m. So then we're going to do this on our calculator, and that's going to equal what's left over here is m. So I'm going to do second function sine of this answer, right? I've got it on there already. Use the answer function. Boom, 46.54. M should be, 46.5 degrees, or if you're rounding, you can go to 47 degrees. I'm not sure what the back of the book will say. Probably nearest degree should be fine. So let's see. Does that make sense? Well, this is 48 degrees with 4.3. This is 47 for 4.2. Totally makes sense. The smaller angle has a smaller opposite side. A larger angle has a larger opposite side. See that? Totally makes sense. So that's 5B. Let's just give that a check with the solution manual on the back. Okay, so here's our solution manual. This is quite a bit neater than I did it, but anyways, very similar. So we're looking for m there, and a simple sine law proportion, and of course m is 47 degrees. Okay, so that's question number 5. That's the cosine law and the sine law question. Actually, I was just going to do maybe A, but oops. But there you go. So yeah, I said cosine law. You know what? This is cosine law / sine law. Why not? Question. Okay. We did both of them. So there you go. Number 5. Hope that works. Just a reminder, you go ahead and go to mrmathwell.com, and you can check out your page right here, Workplace and Apprenticeship 30. And here's all my videos, okay, in the proper sections. So you can go, and this video right here is now going to go right around here somewhere. That video is going to be slid right in there in the Chapter 7 stuff. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Have a good rest of your semester.